So what's interesting is when people hit that wall, if you will, right? That, oh, I don't want to post this. Oh, I'm not getting the engagement that I want. Oh, I'm not making the money that I want. This person isn't responding to me the way that I want. I actually think that those things are great for business because that's where you find the winners and losers. And I like to use those words, and I like the sports vernacular because I think that it's very important. A lot of these things are just practice to get you in there, or they're just a play in the game, if you will. And so are you doing things emotionally, mentally, physically to push you through when you have challenging times? Like I do a lot of fitness stuff because it helps me from a business perspective to be like, well, if I could do a marathon, I could clearly email this person this thing. Like, are you doing anything are you doing anything else other than business to kind of help fuel your motivation and resiliency?
So for me, music is really big, and I don't know why. It just is an emotional connection for me. So a lot of times it could be one of those days where I am kind of in a funk, and I put on the music that I really enjoy, and I listen to it, and I crank it up, and that is able to kind of get me out of that. And so that, I guess that's an emotional part of it. And then the fitness side, I'm really working on that because you're right, it is so important. And it's one of those things where if you're out of the fitness side of things and you get away from it for even a week, I think you can see it in somebody and you can kind of feel it. And I know I carry myself a little bit differently on the days that I have gone. And so I've set up a gym in my garage because of coronavirus. And so on the days that I'm able to get in there and work out, I feel so much better for the whole day. And that comes across. And whenever you're talking to people on the phone, you just stand up a little bit taller, just little things like that. So I definitely feel a difference. I need to be better and get more consistent on the fitness side of things. So what's your secret, Zach? Because I know you said you work out every day.
Well, you're looking at the other guy who instigated that.
Oh, so
that
okay.
that started. So as a former fat kid, I can say that. Oh Lord. So I started working out January 2nd of 2018. The date's irrelevant. It really doesn't matter. I just happen to know that. And it's not because I had a New Year's resolution. So let's dispel that too. So I think I'd worked out like 2 or 3 days, and Tim and I are really close. And I remember him saying something like, yeah, well, I've run two miles a day for the last 3 years or something at the time. And I was like,
my 6-year birthday is on Saturday.
Okay. So it would have been 4 years. And so I was like, that's interesting. So no days off. That means I don't have to figure out, okay, I have to work out these 4 days a week. What am I going to do on the other 3 days? I just do something physical every single day, right? Some days are clearly harder than others, right? Like some days there's Ironman workouts in there. Some days there's a lot less work than like a marathon or anything like that. But the whole idea is just you got to do it every single day, right? And so it's like almost like taking that time off is actually bad for the habit. So you keep doing it. And so I got to like 30 days and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I just kept doing it. And so I'm a big believer in the no days off mentality. I think that you even said a couple of days, like, I think it screws up everything. Like Tim's almost at 6 years. I can't imagine being at 6 years being like, yeah, I'm gonna take a day off. What happens if you then go 6 years without working out? And I think that's Tim's biggest.
I don't know. I'll never find out. I mean, the thought of taking a day off is it just would never happen.
But it seems so ridiculous. Like, how to get more energy? Go burn off a ton of energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense yet. By working out and using more energy, you get better. So I think the fitness aspect of that is really, really important. I think consuming a lot of material from people who have been there before, it can be very, very valuable as long as you then act on something that you've learned. Yeah. I think a lot of people can consume and then never do anything with it. There's a book by Ramit Sethi, and I think he said something in it. I believe he's the person who said this. Something along the lines of, if you get one nugget out of every piece of material that you consume, that nugget it can be very, very powerful. And so constantly be looking for those nuggets. And I think the idea was like, if you buy a $20 book and you got one nugget out of it, then that can be, a huge concept. So to me, it's like the no days off concept is that one kind of principle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're looking for things like that, I think that can be very valuable. Act on stuff, and then don't over flood your days with like nonsense. Like learn how to say no to things that are just rubbish. I've never said that word out loud before. Rubbish. So wonderful. And then, realize probably that Taylor Swift is right and haters are going to hate. It's fine.
Yeah. And I think that's important too about just gleaning information from all over the place. And so I really like
just get that information, not do anything with it, because there's a
right.
lot of people who just do that.
Right. So, and then where you get it from is important too. So if you're always listening to the same podcast day in and day out, or you don't experience any kind of information from other industries, or, because there's so much out there that maybe it's not directly involved with what you do, but you can find something that maybe nobody else is doing because you looked outside of your little bubble. So yes, absolutely.
And validate the people who you consume to make sure they actually aren't just regurgitating someone else. Right. And so you don't go to your dentist asking them a business question. You ask them to fix your mouth.
Right.
But a lot of people will take business advice from people who have never done anything in business. And I think that can be very catastrophic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tim?
Zack?
You gonna take a day off at 6 years in one day?
Well, I mentioned to you, I was like, gosh, if I qualify for Boston, I'm going to take a day off and break my streak, and I still couldn't do it. So I don't know. Maybe after I run Boston, maybe I'll take a day off. I don't know. But the thought of starting from zero again is just, man, it crushes me. So I couldn't do it.
And I've been there. So that starting from zero is miserable. So definitely don't do it.
Well, the compound interest of these things is so valuable. Yeah. And I think that we learn about compound interest from a financial standpoint in school, but not the compound interest of everything else in your life and how it really does build a bigger, better thing, a personal brand, a business brand, a fitness brand, a fitness cycle, repetition with family members and friends. Like the more you talk to someone, probably the better friends you are with that person. Like that thing compounds. Right. The more you do, the more you ride your bike, probably the more comfortable you'll be on that. And so I think kind of what you were saying, where look at other industries, but also like look at things in your life that you're consuming and doing and figure out like, okay, how could I take that concept and organize this thing in my business and life to use that to be stronger? And I think most people say, oh, I need to do this business thing because it's business. It's like, well, hold on. What can I do over here that I can learn from a business perspective, or vice versa, business to life, et cetera? I think it could be incredibly valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think